A new lawsuit argues that Wisconsin voters whose absentee ballots don't arrive to the clerk's office by Election Day should be allowed to vote in person on Election Day. This suit was filed in Dane County on behalf of a voter and the League of Women's Voters of Wisconsin. The lawsuit argues that voters who had their absentee ballots arrive late should be able to go and cast provisional ballots at their polling places. Currently, absentee ballots in Wisconsin must arrive before polls close in order to count. Hundreds of ballots were not counted in April's election because they arrived too late. The primary election in Wisconsin is on August 11th, while the general election will be in November.